This is a long program also, but now I'm thinking, okay, they can't just build up to WrestleMania every week. It can't be a every week just cataclysmic events. And it's probably going to be another 6 or 8 weeks before they have another pay-per-view. And then I realized they got another pay-per-view what, 2 weeks now? Is backlash? It's lashing back at us.
A week and a half, somewhere around there, yeah.
Is it May? Is it what's the date? May the 10th? If that's the case, it would be to 23 weeks after the 2 nights of WrestleMania, which is it's quick to come back. But the show long drama here was between, of all people, Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn. Because they opened the show with Seth and Braun and Paul Lee coming out to the ring, and boy, again, Braun immediately fits in in a suit. He looks like $1 million, like a top fucking star, coming out with the other top stars. But the fans are they're woeing for Seth. They're cheering. They cheer when he when he mentioned that he won WrestleMania. And when he mentioned Punk and Reigns, there was some boos for them because he was mentioning them. But then they got some chants going. And when Seth says, "We are the future of this industry," they cheer him. So this is it's a personal appearance where you get to see the great actors, playing their greatest dramatic scenes on stage, right? It doesn't make, could he eat a baby or, do something cruel to a goddamn dachshund and they would still go, whoa, whoa.
As long as it's a hook. I mean, you need a hook.
You got, maybe that's the thing. He's going to do it with a hook.
What do you think of Braun Breaker out there? Made you forget all about Wardlow. Kind of had that look, but chiseled, and it was like, wow, there's Wardlow.
There's a name that I haven't thought of or heard in a long time. Is he still getting paid to be invisible?
I believe he moved back to Bulgaria.
Well, I heard there was an open apartment. So it's funny, this Bulgarian-American pipeline we got. Anyway, Seth says they're the future of the industry. Everybody cheers him. Sami's music plays, and Sami comes out and gets cheered. And Sami came as a friend to tell Seth this is a load of crap. You knock Punk and Roman, but the one thing that they had in common, him, pointing at Paul Lee, is with you. And maybe you're just jealous, and blah, blah, blah. And then they started arguing about what their vision for the future is, because Seth, obviously, the heel is not saying I did this for selfish reasons. I stabbed these people in the back to get ahead. He said, I did it for everybody. I did it for the good of the company. And now the heel tells his longtime friend of 20 years, because they go back 20 years with each other, I want you to get out of harm's way. Get transferred to Raw, to SmackDown. Get off of Raw. This is not a threat. It's an offer. You'll be safe. We won't have to hurt you. So is this the first time in history that a heel has ever actually begged a guy? And yeah, they're going to come back and do more of this, but he's begging the guy.
Let me send you away. Please.
Yes. Please, I don't want to do anything bad.
Just go over here. And by the way, how did they get the decision-making ability to do this?
Well, because of the wise man. Because he's got, pictures of Aldous when he was, in that lingerie at that drag show in Bolivia. But
you heard about that? No, go ahead.
Well, there was one cell phone camera. But then that's the show long deal. And let's go ahead and, instead of breaking it up, let's continue. Because later on, they had Sami Zayn in the locker room, and Paul sits down next to him and blows off Fat Otis. Like, yeah, give us a second. And Paul Lee has the heart-to-heart talk with him. We're OG bloodline. And Paul gives the Paul speech. And he says, Braun wants a match with you, but Seth is offering you a pass. You get traded to SmackDown, and Sami, you will face the winner of Cena and Orton for the world title. And that's what you've dreamed of. You can live in the future or die in the past. And then he leaves him to think about it. And he goes around the corner and he passes Braun Breaker that's there smiling and rubbing his hands together and twirling his waxed mustache. So, does Sami really need to be the world champion if he can't tell that a fucking guy that wants to beat the shit out of him is 7 feet around the corner?
He's always having this emotional conflict with everything.
He's a very emotional person.
Yeah.
So then later on, in the back, Jey Uso wished Sami well and do what's best for you, right? And then Sami walked off and the camera froze on Jey for a while, and then Logan Paul's fist came in and knocked Jey out. So Sami Zayn gets wished well by a friend of his, walks 20 feet away and doesn't hear the fucking guy get the shit knocked out of him. But anyway, and they did it all night. Finally, the time has arrived. Seth Rollins is in the ring. And he calls Sami out again to talk it out. And they play the music and Sami comes out again. Did we ever establish why Sami Zayn dresses like Fidel Castro?
I was wondering the same thing. He's always buttoned up to the neck. I mean, just what? There's nothing.
But the army fatigue fucking shirt thing and the cap. He's not going for the combat boots.
He's not a revolutionary. He lives in the safety of Montreal.
Well, Seth is the revolutionary.
In what way?
Well, he's a visionary.
What's the vision?
He's a reactionary.
What's he reacting to?
The dictionary. Hold on. Anyway, Seth says, look, I'm in a tough spot here. We're friends. We've been friends for 20 years. And he still tell him, I don't want you to anything bad to happen to you. And I wrote, this is taking so long. But Seth is like, we're the way forward for the best future. For the company. For all of us. Isn't the heel supposed to say, fuck everybody? I want to be me. I want good for me. I want to run things. I want everything to be good for me.
Yeah, it's like Death Riders bullshit. Like, we're doing this to save the company and save the future.
Yeah.
How? Why? For who? For what? Forget about it.
Sami, forget about it. Sami, that you don't believe in me, it hurts. Because when my baby was born, I called you first. Wait a minute. It's supposed to be the other way around. When Seth's baby was born, shouldn't have Sami called him and said, hey, congratulations. I heard you had a baby. But Seth's baby was born and he called Sami. Maybe Sami didn't give a shit that he had a baby.
I just want you to know we had a baby. We're registered at Babies R Us.
It was 9 pounds and 2 ounces. It was 22 inches long. So he called Sami apparently for kid advice, and Sami gave him some kid advice. So now I want to give you advice, Sami. Take my advice that could save your life. Now they're threatening to kill him. Now, there's a difference between, even though we've been friends, we got to take this thing over. So if you get in our way, we got to beat you up. But now, no, we're going to kill you. If you stay on Raw and you don't believe me, bad things are going to happen. And he starts begging him. He's begging. He said, literally used the word, I'm begging you, Sami. Leave. Don't make me do this. Look what you made me do. Don't make me hurt you. And Sami responded and said, hey, our kids play together. After he just threatened to kill him. You threatened to kill my son's daddy. Duddy? And Sami said, I think you're playing games. I've confided in you that the WWE title means so much and you dangle it in front of me, but have you ever known me to run away? I wrote, my God, this is a Lifetime movie. And Sami said, "You're threatening me. I can live with being a target, but not being threatened. Because when I wrestle and win the WWF title, it'll be on my own and not with your help. So now, as a friend of yours, Seth, go to hell." And then they pray. I was praying it'd be over.
And then they prayed. It was a real twist there.
Yes, it was.
Seth was such a nice heel. He was trying to save this guy.
And then he dunked him in a bucket of water. No, they played Braun Breaker's music, and I was like, finally. But before we talk about this match, again, this is the most dramatic, heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching. Do grown adult men speak to each other in this feeling fashion?
Well, this is kind of the issue in a way with the Cody Rhodes stuff recently. Where he didn't, not even cheat, he didn't take advantage of the situation in front of him and he got made to look like a fool. WWE's baby faces are always weak and kind of, again, Bob Backlund-ish baby face for no good reason. Like,
now come on.
I'm all about being good and doing good. What's wrong with you?
But hold on now. AEW has been much worse with the weak babyface department, you've got to admit, but they haven't been weak until here lately. It seems a lot of them have, weaker. A lot of them have easily hurt feelings, it seems like, or whatever over there. That's just... But yeah, it's a long interview with a lot of heartfelt whatever.
I mean, the whole show was built around this. It was a show long, Alfred Heyman presents. And it was his drama in 3 parts.
Well, then they ought to play Funeral March of the Marionette for when Braun comes out.